Even after recording spectacular failure in the recently concluded general elections, Roots Party of Kenya leader George Wajackoyah is still active in the politics of the day. So what does the future portend for this man in the world of politics and governance at large? That, of course, informs the basis of our conversation today on yet another edition of Siasa Brigade, your go-to point on matters Kenya's politics and governance at large, hosted by yours truly, Richard Mwenje. Indeed, always a pleasure. Now with me on this conversation is none other than this gentleman who never disappoints. He is Kenya's most sought political analyst and East Africa's renowned public scholar. And today is dotted in a red polka-dotted tie. How are you, sir? Such an amazing fashion sense. What inspires it?
Hey, young man.
Just a village boy with such amazing fashion sense?
A young man, yes.
A young man?
Yeah.
No. You're about to head into retirement.
Who?
And you're actually worried about it.
Who?
You.
Who? Were you there when I was born?
Have you seen this?
Were you there when I was born?
It is known.
Who
Your students
knows?
are now 60 years. Your students.
Which students? I'm a young man.
You're a young man.
Yeah.
But have you seen the worrying statistics of Kenyan retirees being ranked amongst the poorest globally? Does that sort of frighten you?
It's really bad. Not me. I'm not a frightened person. And there's even a worse one that 80% of people who have retired are said to be coming back to Nairobi.
To continue with active employment?
It's very sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Very well, of course, much needs to be done on matters
But
of
if you're
social
a village
protection.
boy like me, nothing more bothers you. You just go back to the village. And you are in sync with the life there.
Don't you think that will take time before you...
Why? No. Me, I'm a village boy.
A village boy.
Yeah.
Very well. There you have it. Herman Manyora, of course, light discussions before it gets straight into the conversation and right into it. We are talking matters to do with George Wajackoyah. And let's start from the recently concluded elections. He recorded spectacular failure, yet he had amassed such a huge crowd. If how people charmed to him was anything to go by on the streets, in the events and therein. What do you think could have orchestrated this spectacular failure that the numbers on the streets did not reflect on the final tally?
You know, that's how politics works. But again, who tells you those are the votes he got? He could have gotten more than that. It's possible. This is politics. In the Supreme Court, 2013, Raila'S versus Uhuru. Kega Kilonzo, a star young lady, proud daughter to the late Mutula Kilonzo, brother to governor now, Senator Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. She won the hearts of Kenyans, but there's something she said. And to those who have, it shall be added. It shall be removed from those with the few and added. What was she trying to demonstrate? And nobody countered the argument in court. She showed that in many parts of Central Province, votes of such a peripheral candidates like Paul Muite, where he gets 12, 8 are taken and given to Jubilee, to TN, whatever they were called, to Uhuru Kenyatta. She demonstrated in court. I'm not making it up. And she ended up by saying, and to those who have it shall be added, removed. So is it not quite possible that some of Wajackoyah's votes could, and he has said as much? Let me now say, I may not know how many of Wajackoyah's votes could have gone somewhere, but I can tell you some of the votes could have gone somewhere. A doctor friend of mine tells me she deliberately voted for Wajackoyah of the Roots Party.
Deliberate.
In a polling station called... it's called what? Is it Anamkoi?
Ainabkoi.
No, something. This zone where there are so many hospitals in Eldoret. There's a primary school there. I forgot.
SS and all those
No,
things.
there's a school. I've forgotten the name of the school. But when they counted, Wajackoyah didn't have even one vote from there. She's a doctor. She's not a villager who didn't know how to vote.
Not a spoilt vote.
No. She voted for Wajackoyah. When the results were announced, Wajackoyah had 0 there. So don't use the word spectacular. You may not know whether the votes given to Wajackoyah actually were his. And that is how politics works across the world.
It wasn't spectacular failure.
No, he just didn't make it. Let's leave it like that.
Let's leave it at that.
Yes.
All right, that's good enough. That's good from you to at least be a little kind to his performance on the elections that were concluded. But then again, right now, if you observe the politics of the day, he's marked right at the center of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition politicking. Even in the parliamentary discussions that are going on, he is really raising his voice on how it should be done. Do you think, from the position that he stands on right now in Azimio, do you feel that he has replaced fully and comfortably so the shoes of the bigwigs that left, that is Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi? Do you think he's now home under Azimio?
Wajackoya is a major player. As whether he has replaced Mudavadi or Wetangula, that I cannot quite say. Because Mudavadi and Wetangula represent different constituencies from what Wajackoya represents. The fight for the soul of Western cannot be said to be determined by somebody like Mudavadi, for example. On the two occasions that Mudavadi has been called upon to demonstrate his power in Western, he has failed. That's where you can use the word spectacular. When he ran for office in 2013, he lost to Raila everywhere, badly. When he supported Ruto last year, unlike Wetangula, who gave Ruto votes from Bungoma,
yeah.
He lost in his own Sabatia to a UDA candidate, governor from ODM, Otichero, senator from ODM, Osozi. He lost practically everything and gave Ruto just a paltry, some few thousands of votes. So I don't think he's a figure to... But let me tell you about politics. That is, if the game is played in the field in which it is being played, by the players, the teams, and the referee. But things change in politics.
Dynamics change.
Supposing Ruto supported him for presidency by making him running mate in 27, then the game changes.
Just like he did for Gachagua.
Yeah. And he renders everybody in Western
irrelevant.
That's politics. But assuming things are the way they are, then Wajackoya will have his place in buttressing Raila'S and Azimio support in Western, which is something you cannot erase. Remember, Wajackoya was well received by a certain segment of this country, across the country. It is a question of whether within the benefits of Azimio, he can translate that support into votes.
Where they can do that.
Yeah, it's possible.
In just trying to translate that support into votes, do you think he really needs to mutate his style of politicking, whereby should he probably launch another presidential bid in 2027 or now want to support the Azimio candidate who will come on board then? Do you think there's need for him to recalibrate his style of politics to move away from the Tingisha Mti thing and the marijuana commercialization and legalization and such, now to proper agendas for the country?
One, everybody has their style. If that is your style and the basis upon which you are getting attraction, if you leave it, then you lose attraction. One of the reasons why Raila has a few problems is because there's a Raila people knew, the militant Raila, including the dressing, Naile Kofiake, with the jacket. This
Tinga.
Yeah.
The real Tinga.
Once he put in on a suit, shaved nicely, looked like a gentleman, he lost some support. I don't think it is necessary for Wajackoya to undergo a transformation. Although in politics, image change, Hillary Clinton had to undergo that change. From the tough woman to a woman now. You know, this kind of image change sometimes is important.
All right.
Secondly, the things Wajackoya is talking about, those things are not wild.
They are sober enough?
Let me tell you.
To take a country to growth?
This country will legalize
marijuana.
But they will do it at a time when it will have become a useless thing. When everybody will be doing it. As opposed to if they did today, with all the challenges. So there's nothing, what Wajackoya is saying is what the world is doing. And benefiting from it. We will finally do it. All the sugar plantations
in
Mumia Western ought to be turned into marijuana growing.
You can support that argument?
Yeah. I've said it before. In public.
Very well.
Yeah.
But then again, even when that time
Sio bangi ya watu kufuta.
medicinal...
Yeah, dawa. Yeah. But we will do it. But by the time we enter the game, it will be saturated.
The bubble have burst. Very well.
There isn't a single thing that the Wajackoya says that doesn't make sense.
But you have to admit there are just 2 or 3 that really...
He says snake farming. People are doing snake farming.
And the other thing about hyenas, we are not going to...
Let's not go there.
Yeah, we're not going. All right.
Tingisha meat like yes.
Very well. But something unexpected happened right after the conclusion of the election, and that was the fallout between the Roots Party of Kenya leader George Wajackoya and his running mate, that is Justina Wamai. This is a lady who really inspired confidence among many people in this country, and many expected that she will be there with Wajackoya to the end of the line, even in future presidential bids or political bids. Do you think Wajackoya has really lost such a lethal weapon by dropping out Justina Wamai from his party and also as a close partner in politics?
That's normal in politics. People lose partners. People lose friends. Yeah. It's normal in politics.
But
people
just right after an election?
People part ways. Yeah, even during an election, leave alone after an election. Even during an election, people fall apart. It's normal. But there's also another problem. Just how much do people know others before they make them running mates? Both at the national level, county level. Look at the friction between governors and their deputies.
It is all over the place.
People rarely know the people they choose. Secondly, what informs the choice is usual some arithmetical calculation, a political mathematics.
Algorithms.
That since I come from the upper side, I need to look for a candidate from the lower side. Since I come from this clan, I need to look for a running mate from the other side. Since I'm a man, I need to look for a woman. Those considerations sometimes
could work for or against
the cloud proper scrutiny.
The cloud proper scrutiny.
And sometimes we overrate people. Quite often we overrate people.
Talking of overrating people, should Wajackoya actually launch another presidential bid in 2027? Do you think he'll be exaggerating his abilities out of illusion if the recently concluded election isn't to go by with the results that he got?
Wajackoya is not a foolish person. This is a serious person, and he knows he's now within Azimio. And his decision will be informed by what's going on within Azimio. If Azimio, for example, choose to support Kalonzo, why would he now jump and run? If some calculation lead them to the inevitable conclusion that Raila ran the last round, why would he run against Raila? And so on and so forth. Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
As we finish, in the interest of time, do you think it will be such a huge success for President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza administration? Should there be a window of opportunity for George Wajackoya to cross the other side? Do you think it will be of so much gain for Kenya Kwanza, whereas on the side of Azimio, spectacular loss of value?
In politics, simple. Gather them all, scatter none. Hakuna nyongeza mbaya kwa siasa.
Zote zinaleta dhamani.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it from Herman Manyora. We are talking matters Roots Party of Kenya leader George Wajackoya's future in politics and the decision he has made even after recording some not so good results in the recently concluded elections, and probably how better he can recalibrate his style of politics so that probably the future would bring nothing but the best tidings for him. That marks the end of this particular show on CSA Brigade. Tune in to our other subsequent editions coming to you at least twice every week with yours truly, Richard Mwenja. Indeed, it has always been an honor and pleasure to have you on board.